Bella Vista Community Television presents Bella Vista and Beyond. Today our host is J.B. Portillo, and we will be talking about the trail system in Bella Vista and hair designing. And now to the studio for the program.
Good morning, everybody. My buddy, Bob, is not here today, so I don't know how you're going to live without the quote at the end of the show about Bob, but we'll just have to do two next time. What can I say? But really, seriously, welcome. I have a few announcements before we get started with my two amazing guests today. The first thing I'd like to say is that the polls are open, so we can do advanced. My brain just went dead, so I can't remember what.
Early voting.
Early voting, thank you. My guest here is important. Early voting started yesterday, and you can go to the Bella Vista Fire Department down near the City Hall and vote for the primaries and for our bond to get the public safety facility and our fire station up and running. So please do that. I'd also like to take just a second and thank so many of our wonderful donors. The Church of the Nazarene has recently re-upped, and we appreciate that, as well as the Recycle Center and several other individuals. So, and one other thing, I have to just brag again, because we have the most fabulous new lights in the studio. I'm not going to melt today under the old ones. These are very bright, but they're wonderful, and it's part of the anonymous donation we received to upgrade our system, and we are ever so grateful. I wish I knew who you were. Thank you. Okay, so I'm excited today because I have two amazing guests, because that's the only kind I have. But the first one, you're going to remember, and you've seen a lot of him. He is my friend and a very good citizen of Bella Vista, John Nuttall.
Hi, JB.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
All right, well, listen, I know lately you and Susan have been doing some incredible things on the trails, like walking and cycling and all of that. So you know what? Let's get started and upgrade people on the trails here in Bella Vista.
Okay.
So tell me, what's out there, John?
Well, the first thing I always like to tell people that, there's quite a misconception about what's out there. The trails in Bella Vista expose you to a completely different part of Bella Vista. I mean, you get to see cliffs, bluffs, you get to see lakes up close, there are streams, there are waterfalls. I mean, literally places like you're in a different planet, and you're never a half a mile from houses. It's just amazing. You can go out there and see just some of the most spectacular scenery you've ever seen, and wildlife galore. You can deers and hawks, and occasionally if you're lucky, you get to see a fox or two. It's just amazing. It's a really a wonderful outdoor experience.
You know, I remember when I interviewed somebody from the cycling when they were, because the trails are for more than, we're going to talk about what they're all about today in a minute, but I remember that a lot of those trails were designed after the wildlife that would have walked through the forest anyway, so it's a natural path, right?
That's the trails were built, they call it design build, so the designers go out there and follow the path of least resistance, which just happens to be what the animals do.
No kidding, I know. Smart animals,
Isn't
right?
that amazing?
It is, it is. Well, okay, so I guess what a lot of people want to know, is it safe to walk on those trails?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the trails in Bella Vista are well designed. The people that are on the trails are the same people that you meet at the grocery store. So if you're safe around doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs, you're safe on the trails.
Gotcha.
The big thing on the trails is you're out there with other people that are doing the same thing you are. And it's the people there are the same naturalists you see running around town. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, who walks those trails? Who does that?
Well, the interesting thing is when you hear people talk about trails, they all say, "Oh, bicycle trails." Well, the first surprising fact is that more than half the people on the trails are not cyclists.
What are they?
Okay, so they lump them into, if you can define these groups, you're better than me. There's walkers, hikers, dog walkers, bird watchers, and I'm not completely sure what the difference is in all those groups, but that group makes up more than half of the people that are on the trails.
Wow. So it's not just about bicycles.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of bicycles because they travel faster, so they come by more often. But we've never walked on the trail that we didn't cross 2 or 3 groups of walkers too.
So let's just talk a minute. If I met a cyclist on the trail, there's a courtesy thing going on there, but they're really good to work with, right? The cyclists and the walkers work well together?
Absolutely. In fact, somewhere in here we'll talk a little bit about the trail etiquette.
Okay.
But generally speaking, when you meet somebody on the trails, the first thing that's happening is there's a conversation. Everybody stops and goes, "Hey, how are you?" You know, because you're out there enjoying nature, you have at least one thing in common: you like to be outside in nature.
Exactly.
Whether you're on a bike or you're walking, you meet a bicycle, you still have a lot in common.
Gotcha.
And so there's always a room to chat. And walking up the hills is a little strenuous as riding. Everybody's happy for a break.
Absolutely. I bet it's beautiful in any season.
It is. Since we're heading into spring, though, we're about to head into one of the best times there is. In about a month, there will be about 4 or 5 days that you can walk down the hollers, and we'll have redwoods and dogwoods at the same time.
And wildflowers.
And wildflowers.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, they come a little tiny bit later down in the hollers because there's not as much sun, but yeah.
Right. Well, you know what? I believe we have some graphics here to talk about things where you could actually start telling people about some specifics.
Okay.
You have a website.
I do. It's www.wheretowalk in Bella Vista, Arkansas. I'm sorry, Arkansas is AR.com.
Okay.
And that will get you to the website.
Okay, well, it looks like we have our first graphic up here. So can you tell us what we're looking at?
Okay, so that is a graphic of the already existing, completed 2 years ago, back 40 trails. Added to that graphic, that's a standard map that the city and the POA put out. You see all the little arrows with mileage on it. We walked all those routes and measured how far they were with a GPS system. So to give you an idea how many the little circles are. So if you want to walk one of those circles and you say how far is it, you can pull it up and say, oh, I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. And then I believe we have the next graphic. We're going to talk about that.
Okay, that is the current project going on right now, and that is the Central Trail map. And the Central Trails are about half-ish done as of last week. And that's the trails that will be on the west side of 71, and most of them will be on the east side of Highway 279. There's a couple that dip over there in a couple little places, but it's all on the east side of Scottsdale Golf Course anyway. And those are about half done. And those trails will take you on a big circle around the entire part of town, and there's a couple things that cross through there. One of the most exciting parts about that, if you look in the middle of the map, you'll see a picture right below my shoulder where you're at the end of Lake Windsor. And now, in combination with the POA's Tanyard Creek trails and the 2 new trails that the Trail Association put in, you'll be able to walk completely around the Tanyard Creek waterfall.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, and it's beautiful from the side you can see, and it's just it's a different world from the other side. They built a bridge across the spillway so you can walk across the spillway to get from one side to the other. So now you can cross the valley without having to go back down to the bottom, which is really neat.
How far around it? You said that looked like a circle. How many miles, or what's the distance around it? Do you have any idea?
Let me tell you, I should know that number, but
well, that's okay. I can go to the website.
It's less than 43.
Less than
More than 20.
Okay. Miles?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because
I've walked 17 of it so far.
Okay.
And there's probably 5 or 6 more to go.
So you say you and Susan, your wife, walk these trails a lot.
I walk with Susan all the time, and then we always usually have a guest with us or something. It's not hard to find somebody that wants to go out and enjoy nature.
Oh, I know. I know, not here anyway. This
Yeah,
is
no.
the place for that. Okay, so you talked about, I believe you have another couple of graphics, so I'll work, there we go.
Okay, so in a few minutes when we start talking about the website, one of the things we're going to talk about is how trails are rated. And on the website is this, this graphic. It's from the National Mountain Bike Association. And they're rated just like they do for ski resorts.
Mm-hmm.
On the right, our left-hand side is a white circle, and that's easy, and it gets more difficult as you go across. One thing I would like to note to people, with the exception of one section of the Flow Ride Trail on Back 40, any place you see something that's got black diamonds, right next to it, except for that one little piece, is a easier trail that you can walk by.
Really?
Yeah, you know, sometimes they're 30, 40 yards off, but they parallel each other. So you get to the black diamond and you go, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'll just go over here on the kiddie run.
There you go. Are they pretty well marked? Really
Yes,
well?
they are. Every trail has a post, and it's got the trail name on it, which at every intersection you can find a post. And you'll have the trail name on it, and the top square of that, or top piece of that post is the rating of the trail.
Okay, okay.
And obviously, the easier they are, the easier they are to walk. And essentially, the big difference is they get wider as you get easier, and they get narrow as you get harder. And the easier you are, the less the slope is.
Gotcha. So let's get into etiquette. What's the etiquette of the trail?
Well, the trail walking etiquette is basically determined by the National Mountain Biking Association. And the etiquette is bicycles yield to walkers, and bicycles and walkers both yield to horses. Now,
We don't have any
horses here, but it said all the brochures say horses too. And that's all based on maneuverability.
Okay.
Okay, bicycles are more maneuverable than people. People are more maneuverable than horses. Now, the next part of that etiquette is uphill always has the right of way over downhill.
Oh, okay.
Because going uphill, you're working. And so downhill always would stop for the uphill coming up. Now, the practicality that really happens when you're out on the trails is bicycles move 3 times, 4 times faster than people. And you generally have bicyclists are good about announcing themselves because they can tell when you're coming up on you. And it's almost always easier for people to move out of the way because a bicyclist has to dismount, lift his bicycle off the trail. And a lot of them do that for you. But I usually say, just keep going. We step off and let them go by. And rarely do they not stop and chat.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know, but that's just common courtesy. That's just, you look out for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. What about something along with etiquette I was thinking of? Let's talk about some of those road crossings, because sometimes the cyclist and the walk and the path go across a automobile road.
Yeah. There are dozens of them in town. They all have a stop sign for the cyclists or walkers, and they all have a flashing light, which is a warning to the cars to yield for pedestrians. With the exception of an occasional kid that doesn't know what a crosswalk is, the cyclists aren't really anxious to go out and get run over by a car.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah.
And most of the cars aren't anxious to run over a cyclist. So, if you come up on it and the light's flashing, slow down and let them go by. If you're a cyclist or a walker, look both ways before you step out in the street.
Exactly. Exactly.
It makes for a much better day.
I bet it does. Okay, so, all right. So, what about how are those trails maintained?
Well, the question I hear a lot, by the way, surprises me. First thing is the vast majority of the maintenance on the trails is done by a couple of groups of volunteers. They go out and they do the rock removal, the brush removal, the cleanup. They walk the trails. I have a section of a mile that I walk 3 or 4 times a month to look and see if there's a tree down or anything, something's happening to get the crew out. Big work that requires equipment. The POA and the city each fund a $35,000 a year budget to take care of the back 40 trails.
The back 40.
Back 40 trails. Neither one of them have ever spent their entire budget. Okay. Now the central section, when it opens, there'll be about a year that it's under warranty, where the trail builders will come out and fix that stuff. And then after that, they'll budget each will budget another $35,000 for that section.
Okay.
So just so you realize, in either one of those budgets, $35,000 is a rounding error.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not a lot. And I think it's amazing that the volunteers, well, the people who love the trails take care of it.
Yeah.
So like you were telling me earlier, though, in the beginning, there were some really weird things that people found down there, but it's pretty much cleaned up now, and it looks good, right?
They're getting, there were some people that lived in Bella Vista that were not real careful with what they threw in the haulers.
Gotcha.
And I will tell you that carrying a tire out of a hauler, not a job you want very often. Yeah, those old steel-belted radial tires get real heavy about halfway up the hill. But slowly, a little bit at a time, the people that take care of the trails, you get down, you do a little job, you're on your way back, you grab a tire or you grab an old piece of siding or something, and they're slowly dragging it up one bit at a time. And someday soon, we'll get it all cleaned out of there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, John, I admire the fact that you pretty much walked everything that you could. I think we have another graphic here. Let's talk about this.
So this is a graphic about if those of you that are interested in walking the trails, all the maps that are published are done by the Bicycle Association. So they're all set up more towards that end. We started doing the walking website because people people needed some information about how to get around it. So I set up, and my wife and I went out on. We like to go for like a 2-hour walk, which is a mile and a half, and up sometimes as much as 3 or 4 hours. So we designed some walks that would meet that criteria, and so I set up the website, which is Where to Walk in Bella Vista AR, and I divided the trail into sections, and each of those sections is a page on the trail. So when you go to the main page of the website, which is up there right now, that tells you what's on the trails, what trails are open to the public, what trails are private POA trails, and it just gives you some information about how to get around. By the way, there's a lovely picture of wildflowers on that page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what you're looking at now is the top half of that page. Mm-hmm. And the next graphic is now this is a graphic of the sections of trails. So there's the back 40 trail, there's inside the back 40 trails, that's the trails in the middle. There are trails that belong to the POA in the city, and there's a section on the new Little Sugar trails.
Okay.
And that page just kind of gives you a map and a description of what's on there. And then each of the individual trails or walks that we walked on are broken down in a little piece, and they include a map. And then below that, every section of trail has the following information. It has the route we took, and by the way, most of the routes are very clearly marked, but anytime there's something on that route that's unusual, we make a note of it there. The surface, and you'd think all the dirt in Bella Vista is the same, it's not.
No.
There are some places where the trails are very abrasive and you want to be wearing really good hiking boots. There are some places you could walk in flip-flops. So we cover that. Then the next one we had, they have a section where we cover the rating of the trail. In addition to the rating thing, the rating number, we also cover the number of miles there and the elevation gain on that walk.
Okay.
Now, elevation gain is an interesting term for people because when you go up a trail and you go down a trail and you go up a trail, you've gained the up twice.
Okay.
So when you see elevation and it says, I climbed 500 feet, you could have climbed 50 feet 10 times.
Okay.
Okay, you walked up 50 feet, you walked down 50 feet, you walked up 50 feet, okay?
Yeah.
So that just so you understand how the elevation is one. We discussed where we parked and what parking is available. And in general, there are lots of places to park on the trails that isn't on the road. It's off, in a cul-de-sac, or it's in a piece of POA property, or there's dozens of trailheads that are great parking. And then the next section is notes.
Okay.
And notes are my opinion of what's out there.
Okay, okay.
And let me just put that, my opinions are my opinions.
I
But in general, I talk about what you can see out there. I mean, some places there's magnificent cliffs. Some places there's great views of water. Some places there's both. We have a lovely Indian ruin down by the down by Lake Ann. We found one section of the new trails where we found an old house that had, at one time, must have had one of the most gorgeous stone fences you ever saw around it. And you can see all the posts and pieces of it. Then there's a map of where we walked, and there's a line of where it goes, so you can actually follow it along so you get an idea.
I think we're about out of time, but can you tell me what are a couple of things you always need to have with you on the trail?
Okay, so you'll find at the bottom of every page, it says always carry water and take your phone.
There you go. There you go.
And make sure you tell people where you're going.
Do you have good reception with your phone out there usually?
You know, I've never had to use my phone out there.
Okay, good. All right, well, hey, thank you for a couple of things. Well, more than that, really. Thanks for coming today. Thanks for that wonderful website. And the important part to me is you've actually walked those trails. So you're not just reading something off of a map. You've been there and done that.
Yeah, and actually we've walked them both directions.
Oh, good for you, good for you.
They're different, by the way, when you go backwards.
I can imagine. Well, thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
joining me
Thanks
today.
for having me, JB.
You betcha, anytime. Okay, so I think we'll take a quick break and come back with our second guest of the day.
We will be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Here is our host, J.B. Portillo.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Our next guest I'm really excited about because I actually just met her. So I am going to find out a lot about her. Her name is Sheila Harp. And Sheila, tell us where you work.
Yes, I work at Panache Spalon here in Bella Vista on the Highlands Crossing.
And you are a hair designer?
Yes, I am. I've been hair designing over 30-some years now, over 35 years.
But you're only 12, so how could that
Oh,
happen?
I wish.
Okay, so, you know, I've always seen the sign up there. So, Panache Spalon. So why is it Spalon instead of salon?
Well, because we're also a spa in there where we can do massages, manicure, pedicures, and then also the hair.
Really? I had no idea that you did massage and all of that as well. So
Yes.
I noticed you have you had a lot of activity there this morning when I came in to see you.
Yes.
You do men, women, children, dogs? No, not dogs.
Not dogs.
Not dogs.
No, but we do family hair care there. We've been there, 14 years, going on
Really?
15 years. And we've all been in the business more than 10 years, you know, so it's very established.
All right, so I think for a second here it'll be back up on the screen, but if anybody wanted to call you and make an appointment, they can do that. And it'll be back on the screen in a second. There it is, right there. And you also have a Facebook page.
Yes, this is my cell number to be able to reach me. We do have 3 other stylists in there as well, and they have their own cell numbers where you can contact any of us through our cell numbers. We have our businesses cards out on the table outside the salon. If we're not there or open, you're more than welcome to pick up the cards.
Do you specialize in any one thing?
I do. I've been in the business over 30-some years, so I do it all pretty much because
Okay.
I like doing the different.
Do you do color?
Yes.
A lot
I
of
do
that,
a lot
too.
of color, highlights, low lights. If you have gray hair and you just want some color, but you still want to keep with your gray, a
So
lot of low lights.
What about people who are trying to go gray and are having a hard time, like me?
Transitioning?
What's it's called transitioning?
Yes.
So how would you do that?
You do like a foil wrap, and then you leave some of the gray out, and then you just color little streaks of whatever color that you had before, and that way it just kind of you have your color and your highlights or lowlights.
Okay, so let's just say that I wanted to go gray. So I just have to be patient and we just do a little at a time? Is that what you mean?
Well, what you do is you do like the foil and you weave, and some of the weaving you leave out, which would be your gray.
Oh, okay. Well, but what if
And then
what you leave out is brown and you're trying to go gray? That's
then you can pre-lighten it
okay.
and then add whatever color that you'd like to have.
Okay. Okay. You know, something I've always wanted to ask, because a lot of us attend the Branchwood Recreation Facility.
Oh, yes.
And I'm just wondering if that chlorine, what does that chlorine do to colored hair in particular? Anything?
Yes, well, you have to use a chlorine. We have like a specific chlorine shampoo and conditioner and stuff like that that you would put in your hair to protect it.
Oh.
And then afterwards you would shampoo that
To make sure you get it out?
all out.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's talk about the massage services. Is that strictly by appointment, or is somebody there all the
Yes.
time?
Yes, Pam Anderson is there, and she's really good. She's there 3/4 of the time. She's there. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday through Friday. But you can call her on her phone, and there again, she's got her own book, and then she can book you right up.
Okay.
So,
So on the Facebook page or the website, would your services are listed out there of what you
on
do?
the website.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay. Well, have you got anything kind of special coming up? Is there something going on that...
Right now, we had some specials earlier. We haven't gotten anything going at the moment. I mean, we do offer gift certificates. We have a lot of people that come in for birthdays or anniversaries or something that want a gift for their mom, and they don't know, they don't need anything. So they give a gift certificate to, you know, services, which is really nice.
That
A
yes,
lot, you know.
yes,
Yeah.
and that's something that I'm sure is very much appreciated.
It is. Yes, it is.
Well, I tell you what, I am so excited to have met you today.
Well, thank you, JB.
And we just need, you guys are right here in the same building as the studio.
Yes.
So I invite you, Bella Vista, to come in and.
Well, thank you, and thank you for inviting us.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well, Bella Vista, I think we've done it again. I really do miss the quotes by Bob, but he'll be back, I'm very sure. Also, I want to just do a quick little plug. You know, we are a all-volunteer organization here, and we have some incredible people, but we could use some more incredible people. We could use camera people, graphics people, anything really, marketing people, directors, a host. You know, I could use somebody sitting right here beside me, like a John or something, right? But in all seriousness, even if you don't know what you're doing, it's okay, because we'll teach you. We're really thinking seriously about having some classes, and it's a lot of fun. I think you'd enjoy it. So until next month, I would like to thank my guests again, John Nuttall and Sheila Harp, and we will see you soon.
See this program on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at various times. You may also view this program on YouTube.com by going to Bella Vista TV. This has been a presentation of Bella Vista Community Television. Thank you for joining us.